Not every snake hunts prey weaker than itself. Sometimes their target is another predator, armed with venomous fangs reflexes and survival instincts that are every bit as formidable. A single misjudgment of distance a strike delivered too slowly, or one brief moment of vulnerability can be enough to turn the attacker into a meal. Welcome to the realm of reptiles, where even those armed with deadly venom can be hunted down, swallowed whole, and eliminated by members of their own kind. Indigo snake. The eastern indigo snake takes life not by venom or muscular constriction, but by the crushing pressure from an uncompromising set of jaws. When facing this absolute biomechanical strength, all resistance is suffocated right from the very first moment. The eastern indigo snake, a killing machine designed not for venom or constricting mechanisms. The mouse has been taken down by the static mechanical compressive force from the predator's jaws. In order to consume a large mass, it activates the cranial kinesis mechanism. The jawbones operate completely independently, creating asymmetrical steps of the teeth, slowly pulling the prey, slipping deep into the throat. With no rush, the predator patiently adjusts its posture. The mouse's upper body gradually disappears into the oral cavity. Every rhythmic swallowing beat pushes the bulky food mass slipping past the throat. A cold-consuming process based entirely on biomechanical principles. King Cobra. It is not by chance that the King Cobra reigns at the top of the food chain. It is the giant amount of neurotoxic venom in each bite that establishes this absolute authority. The ability to completely neutralize the prey in a blink of an eye now becomes a stepping stone, opening a completely silent process of consuming a giant body mass. On the mossy rock background, the water monitor is completely motionless under the death bite of the King Cobra. The venom has penetrated and blocked the neural receptors, activating a state of full-body ischemia, making the victim's muscular system completely paralyzed before being swallowed whole. Every constricting and pulling rhythm is executed with absolute patience. The hunter continuously adjusts its posture, skillfully guiding the victim's stiff body mass through the narrow throat vault. When swallowing, the King Cobra will secrete another amount of venom, pumping more into the victim's body to ensure they are completely paralyzed. Viper versus lizard. Nestling in a hidden corner, the large snake patiently locks onto the target. The target is a brilliant green lizard. Thanks to the camouflaged scale layer, the snake silently slithers forward, quietly shortening the distance, waiting to launch an ambush strike. Realizing the danger, the lizard immediately accelerates to flee. The life and death pursuit tears apart the silence amidst the thorn bushes and cliffs. The escape ends with an accurate bite. The snake immediately coils itself tight, extinguishing all final struggling efforts of the victim. This cruel ending is exactly the inevitable law to maintain the survival chain in the wild. Spider-tailed horned viper. On the arid cliff, the boundary between hunter and prey is sometimes just an illusion. Mistaking that wriggling tail for a lucrative spider, the winged target does not know they are diving straight into the jaws of a stealthy predator. In the arid canyon, the survival principle relies on deception. A small bird is scanning the surrounding environment. On the cliff, a small movement appears. This is not an arthropod, but the art of tail baiting of the spider-tailed horned viper. It presses close to the terrain, lowering its metabolic rate to maximally preserve energy while waiting. Accompanied by the ability to use a specialized neuromuscular system to control the keratinized scales, accurately simulating the gait of a desert spider. The bird dives down to launch a peck, but that is a trap. The spider-tailed horned viper is an extremely rare species and has a very limited habitat. You will not find them anywhere else in the world except for a single area, Western Iran, specifically in the Zagros Mountains. The cliffs are where migratory birds often stop to rest. And there is no escape route left. This snake species was once considered extinct or a biological mistake. It was not until 2006 that scientists officially confirmed them as a distinct species after finding live specimens in Iran. Unlike many venomous snakes in the viper family, which usually cause tissue necrosis, the spider-tailed viper's venom is optimized to paralyze instantly. Its venom hits straight into the bird's motor system, making their wings stiffen right after the bite, falling straight down on the spot. However, local birds are usually experienced and wary of this tail. They are not always successful in baiting prey. Massive snake versus bird. The mother bird is feeding her chicks, unaware that danger has lurked right nearby. And immediately, the swallowing process begins right on the branch. Its lower jaw is not fixed like mammals. The two sides operate separately, alternately pulling the prey deeper after each contraction beat. The neck skin layer stretches visibly wide, fully embracing the chick's body despite a size noticeably larger than the original head. To this predator, swallowing is not just eating, but a perfect mechanism where every movement is optimized to process the prey intact. Frog versus grass snake. The perfect camouflage skill by immobility sometimes becomes ineffective before a creature that does not rely entirely on vision. When the temperature and chemical signal cover is exposed, the static defensive tactic is forced to give way to a life and death race of reaction speed. The predator utilizes the environment to eliminate distance, forcing the victim to activate an immediate evasion mechanism to break the tracking chain. The close-in tactic in a water environment requires extreme dexterity. The snake utilizes its flexible body structure to move without creating ripples, eliminating the prey's long-distance detection ability, turning the water surface into a perfect concealing screen for the attack. In the end, perseverance defeated speed. The battle ends, leaving the terrifying silence of the natural survival law. Stork versus snake. At the edge of the muddy swamp, a white stork is falling into a tricky situation. A large snake is biting tightly onto its wing. The bird gradually backs down into the water, dragging along the enemy clinging to its body. Following survival instinct, the white stork uses its sharp beak to tightly clamp the reptile's body, making an effort to tear the enemy off its body. The snake's weight makes the white stork lose its balance. It tumbles, struggling desperately, its head submerged underwater many times. The bird's strength quickly depletes before the persistent clinging. The bloodstain spreading on the pure white plumage is a cruel testament to the harshness of the natural world. Do not let the tiny size and brilliant appearance fool you, because the ringneck snake is an assassin possessing a highly mysterious chemical weapon. Although lacking long fangs, this species possesses neurotoxic venom in its saliva. It finishes off the prey by chewing lightly, so the venom seeps into the wound, paralyzing amphibians and other small snakes in just a few minutes. Despite its modest size, The ringneck snake possesses the Duvernay's gland secreting neurotoxic venom specific to small reptiles. When attacking the northwestern garter snake, it utilizes its flexible body to coil tight, simultaneously using fangs located deep in the jaws to bury venom into the opponent's tissue. This venom quickly paralyzes the garter snake's motor system, preventing the ability to resist or escape. With an elastic jaw structure, the ringneck snake begins the process of swallowing the prey from the head. A testament to the overwhelm of chemical weapons over physical size. King Cobra. Possessing a record length of up to 5.7 meters, the King Cobra is not only the longest venomous snake species in the world, but also a king specializing in executing purges of its own kind. With the ability to pump out up to 700 milligrams of venom in a single bite, enough to take down an adult elephant in just a few hours, it does not need to hide. When facing a king cobra, that is when all other predators must understand that this territory has an owner. The ghost of the dense tropical forest has just awoken. The king cobra, the one carrying a death sentence on its back. It glides through the decaying leaves with a sound only equal to a sigh. But every flick of its tongue is drawing a map of death. Of the rat snake. It does not only pump venom, but also uses its sturdy jaws with hundreds of tiny razor-sharp teeth to bury deep into the opponent's head or neck to lock tight all possibilities of biting back. The king cobra will chew voraciously on the victim's body to pump another large amount of venom until the prey is completely taken down. It executes the jaw walking movement, alternately pushing each side of the jaw forward to pull the prey deep into its throat like a conveyor belt. The king cobra also has a mobile breathing tube located on the floor of its mouth that can be pushed forward, helping it continue to take oxygen even while busy chewing a giant prey. The clash between the two cold-blooded assassins is a confrontation between cytotoxin and neurotoxin. The king cobra, with its snake-eating habit, proactively attacks thanks to a partial venom resistance against other snake species. It utilizes its length advantage to attack the prey's head part, helping to dodge the viper's high-speed strike. The king cobra's fangs pump directly a large amount of nearly 700 milligrams of venom, quickly paralyzing the viper's respiratory system. While the viper possesses hemotoxin venom that destroys cells and causes hemorrhaging, the king cobra has the absolute advantage thanks to natural venom resistance to many snake species in the region, making the viper's weapon become useless. In this life and death card game, the viper may possess the longest venomous fangs, but the king cobra is exactly the one holding the trump card. The clash quickly erupts on the ground, and the King Cobra is always the proactive one to close in and attack. As an experienced snake hunter, the King Cobra does not need to constrict, but utilizes an extremely fast striking speed to bury its pair of venomous fangs into the opponent's neck area. Unlike other snake species that usually bite, then release, the King Cobra has a tendency to chew and hold tight to ensure the giant amount of venom seeps deep into the central nervous system as fast as possible. Even though the rat snake is a rodent-destroying assassin with extremely strong constricting muscles, before the King Cobra, it is completely neutralized. A high dose of neurotoxin venom immediately blocks the electrical impulses transmitted to the rat snake's muscles, causing respiratory failure in just a few minutes. Chemical paralysis makes all efforts become hopeless before the King Cobra begins the process of swallowing the prey whole along its body length. Even though just a juvenile, the King Cobra has revealed its assassin hunting instinct when it faces a rat snake. With a giant amount of venom, confronting a King Cobra is almost certainly holding a death sentence. The prey quickly finds an escape route, but not everyone with the intention to escape succeeds. This is the clearest testament to the evolution of the Ophiophagus genus. The Indo-Chinese rat snake, although very aggressive in self-defense, but before an opponent far exceeding itself, it almost has no chance of survival once locked as a target. The King Cobra always prioritizes swallowing from the head to ensure the scales and bones of the rat snake do not cause damage to the esophagus. When the prey slips down to the stomach, an extremely strong amount of acid will be secreted to dissolve everything completely from scales to bone marrow. A perfect digestive machine uniquely designed by the creator for the ruler of nature. King Snake. Possessing an authoritative name, the king snake is exactly the most terrifying, immune one in the reptile world. Even though not carrying a single drop of venom inside, but with absolute venom resistance and a muscular constricting force 3 times stronger than snake species of equivalent size, it is ready to turn cold-blooded assassins like rattlesnakes into dinner. In the world of the king snake, the opponent's venom is not a threat, but just spice for a perfect hunt. This clash is a testament to the evolution of 2 absolute countering species in nature. The attack is launched, and as usual, the stronger one always holds the overwhelming position in hand. It usually aims straight at the rattlesnake's head to make a fulcrum to increase the constricting force from the wrapping coils behind. This constricting force causes immediate blood circulation stagnation and multi-organ failure for the rattlesnake. When the prey is no longer able to move, the king snake begins the swallowing process, using flexible jaws to process an opponent with a body size sometimes larger than itself. Even though the rattlesnake usually has a wider and heavier body, the king snake can still swallow it whole thanks to the extraordinary esophageal stretching ability, turning the seasoned predator into an abundant nutritional source. In this card game, the rattlesnake has unleashed its strongest card, which is Venom, but the king snake plays a completely different game. When Venom becomes useless, the one carrying the death toll rattle is exactly the one who has to receive the final sentence. The next battle between two white snakes takes place as a conflict between two similar biological systems, where muscular strength and endurance become the deciding factors. Without using venom, they rely entirely on pure muscular strength to control the opponent. The bleeding wound on the head proves this is a true blood battle and not just an intimidation display. Their jaws possess countless sharp, backward curving teeth, forming a trap tightly locking the enemy. The two bodies coil and constrict each other. Every wrapping coil is aimed at compressing the chest, cutting off the breathing rhythm, and draining the enemy's stamina. This is entirely a physical race. Whoever is more persistent will win. After a while of exhausting all strength without deciding a winner, the life preservation instinct speaks up. One has to accept retreat, yielding the dominant right to the more stubborn one. King Cobra versus Snake. On the LD50 toxicity scale, the King Cobra may not rank first, but in terms of pumped volume, it is the absolute ruler. One of its fang strikes can release up to 700 milligrams of neurotoxic venom, a dose enough to collapse an adult elephant's neural transmission system in less than 3 hours. This is not simply a bite, it is an all-out attack on the victim's respiratory system. When two predators with similar shapes clash, the kingship is decided by a brutal instinct: cannibalistic behavior. The king cobra and the rat snake create an unequal confrontation where agility faces deadly venom and the intellect of a king. With a giant amount of neurotoxic venom, it directly attacks the rat snake's muscle control system, completely paralyzing the prey after just a few minutes. Despite having a giant venom reserve, the king cobra is a master of biological economics. It knows that venom takes a lot of energy to regenerate. It often executes dry bites, biting but not pumping venom. It only uses venom when it feels its life is seriously threatened. The king cobra gradually adjusts its jaws towards the prey's head, serving the swallowing process. Swallowing prey from the head helps the king cobra press the rat snake scale layers to lie smoothly, ensuring the victim slides through the esophagus smoothly without causing internal organ damage. The king cobra finishes the hearty meal, affirming the absolute dominant status of a king in the wild world. The king cobra bears a scientific name meaning snake eater. For them, reptiles are exactly the main source of life. But the rat snake does not easily give up. With survival instinct, it uses all its strength to resist, biting tightly right next to the hunter's mouth corner, hoping to salvage a chance. When the rat snake launches a desperate retaliatory bite, it completely does not know that it is confronting a system programmed to ignore pain and optimize swallowing. The rat snake coils itself, clinging to hinder being swallowed. However, the too large physical disparity, along with the disadvantage of having no venom, leaves it completely with no way out. With nearly 700 milligrams of venom pumped out per bite, facing a king cobra is a death sentence for small reptiles. Under the forest canopy, another life and death clash is taking place. The giant king cobra corners a small striped snake. Although inferior in size, survival instinct forces it to face up. Standing before a too large enemy, the small snake clearly shows its disadvantage. The snake intends to slither away, but the hunter seems to have no intention of letting it go. Out of escape routes, the small snake has to gamble its life. The body curves like a tightly compressed spring, helping it keep a safe distance, simultaneously accumulating kinetic energy to launch a lightning-fast counter-attacking peck. The hunter's eyes have locked onto the target, ready for a bloodbath. However, the death snap missed the target. The victim seized the opportunity and successfully escaped. For the king cobra, the process of finishing off a large prey sometimes happens like a highly calculated mechanical torture display. The king cobra does not just bite and release. It executes a brutal tactic by holding tight and continuously chewing on the opponent's body. This chewing behavior operates like a hydraulic pump system, forcing the venomous fangs deep to release the maximum volume of neurotoxic venom into the muscle tissue. This pressure makes the venom spread faster, collapsing the neural transmission system and paralyzing the prey's resisting muscle bundles in just a split second. Finally, With powerful peristaltic rhythms, it tightly compresses the giant protein mass into its stomach, where highly concentrated acid will completely decompose the victim. King snake versus rattlesnake. Hiding beneath the arid, dry leaf layers is a master ambusher of nature. Perfect camouflage ability helps it become almost invisible. But the most terrifying weapon exactly lies in the ability to see through the night. Thanks to sensitive thermal sensors, it easily detects the body heat of hiding prey. When warning, the rattletail will vibrate, tearing the silence. And once striking, the flexible jaws will dislocate to swallow the victim whole. In the world of snake species, power does not always belong to the one with deadly venom. Through millions of years of evolution, the king snake's body has developed special enzymes in its blood capable of neutralizing the rattlesnake's venom. This means the rattlesnake's most dangerous weapon, the venom that can melt tissue and cause death, is completely ineffective against the king snake. The king snake proactively locks the opponent's head tight, then operates the constricting mechanism with superior pressure, twice as high compared to snake species of the same size. This compressive force not only causes suffocation, but also creates immediate circulatory arrest, collapsing the rattlesnake's cardiovascular system in just a few minutes. In nature's card game, venom may be a strong card, but immunity is exactly the trump card. When the air current carrying the scent molecules of the fated prey touches the tongue, the king snake immediately switches to hunting mode. It does not hide. It lunges straight toward the source emitting danger. The king snake lunges in like a flash of lightning, aiming straight and locking tight onto the victim's head. When a snake swallows a large prey like a rattlesnake, its internal organs must move aside. The snake's heart is not fixed. It can move along the chest cavity to avoid being crushed by the prey when passing through. The lungs also compress specially to not be completely flattened. The snake's digestive system secretes extremely strong enzymes and acids not only to digest meat, but also to soften bones immediately, helping the prey deflate and take up less space. The feast ends, and the king hits the road again with a heavy body, but carrying the energy source of a supreme assassin. The symphony of death amidst the desert begins with a terrifying silence. When the rattlesnake believes that its venom is the final declaration, the king snake appears like an arrogantly vetoing one. The two movement trajectories are gradually intersecting, preparing for a brutal head-locking bite. Continuously flicking its tongue to collect chemical signals, the king snake maps out exactly the prey's position under the rock. To avoid ruptured blood vessels due to too high pressure, the king snake has the ability to change blood flow. It proactively cuts down blood to the limbs and tail muscles, concentrating all energy and oxygen into the jaw and esophageal muscle system. At this time, the king snake almost concentrates its body's entire power source into a single task: swallowing. With a body length exceeding 3 meters and an impressive weight of up to over 300 kilograms, the tiger is not only the largest cat species on the planet, but also the perfect embodiment of evolution. This giant mass is not a burden at all. On the contrary, it is the ultimate tool generating terrifying destructive kinetic energy, helping them redefine the concept of an apex assassin. A predatory machine with a terrifying bite force, reaching about 1,050 pounds per square inch, twice that of a lion. With specially thick paw pads, the tiger moves almost silently, allowing it to approach prey at extremely close range before revealing itself. A body with a high muscle ratio makes the tiger's explosive running speed extremely fast. But the heavy mass makes them quickly accumulate lactic acid in their muscles, resulting in them being unable to maintain a pursuit speed for more than 10 to 20 seconds. This is also the reason making the tiger one of the most effective close-range predators. More than strength, it is patience and the ability to utilize terrain that have turned tiger species into true rulers. Their survival strategy is very simple but cold. In the natural world, there is no room for territory sharing if that threatens their own survival. Tiger versus gaur. The gaur is the largest wild bovine species in the world, with a massive physique and bulging muscle mass. An adult individual can weigh up to 1,500 kilograms, possessing a sturdy pair of horns and an extremely aggressive temperament when threatened. Despite being the tiger's hunted target, the gaur is not weak at all. They are ready to fight to the end, turning encounters into dramatic and dangerous life and death contests. In the darkness of the forest edge, Every movement has a price. The tiger does not move. It seems to be drifting. Every step is a cruel calculation. The hind paw is placed exactly in the position of the front paw to eliminate sound.
At 5 times this man's weight, it's hard to...
In just a blink of an eye, the giant black shadow has swooped in. A fierce lunge aimed at the enemy, but in the moment of chaos, the ram slipped its direction and struck straight into its very own kind. Accompanying that is the bite into the throat from the big cat, making the attack become a weapon locking the target dead. There is no resistance. There is no prolonged pursuit. The absolute strength of the giant collapses before the perfect assassination technique. Under the forest edge, a brutal siege tactic begins to reveal itself. The Bengal tiger family operates like an elite military unit. They do not rush. They spread out, utilizing the bushes to tighten the encirclement around the solitary gore. The 1,000-pound prey seems to sense the aura of death, but all escape routes have been tightly locked. Younger or smaller tigers usually move in the front to distract the gore's vision and horns. This creates conditions for the largest individual to sneak into the blind spot behind the shoulder to launch the decisive blow. Unlike lions, tigers usually hunt alone, but in cases of hunting with family, they will have to learn how to divide tasks for each individual. The young ones try to approach to learn how to observe pressure, while the mother takes on the role of locking the trachea, a finishing blow requiring the highest technique and patience. Tiger versus deer. With a body weight ranging from 70 to 150 kilograms, deer species are the most ideal protein source for big cat species. Living in herds helps them protect each other, but accompanied by the risk of easily being noticed by other predators. The male's antlers, structured from dense bone tissue layers, can withstand collision forces of up to thousands of newtons in each ram. However, when these muscle and hard bone masses are engrossed in showing off their strength, they accidentally create loud sound impulses, completely covering up the hunter's footsteps. At the bottom of a deep dirt pit, the tiger patiently hides itself like a living trap. It curls up close to the ground, eliminating all movements to blend into the darkness of the pit. The deer herd is completely unaware that death is waiting right under their feet. From the bottom of the deep pit, it lunges up like an arrow leaving the bow, tearing apart the silence of the forest edge. The tiger's maximum speed at close range can reach up to 65 kilometers per hour. Once the target is within sight, all subsequent escape efforts are hopeless. The tiger uses its 7 to 9 centimeters long fangs to look for gaps between the cervical vertebrae or pierce straight into the trachea. This bite is designed to crush the laryngeal cartilage, immediately stopping the oxygen flow to the brain. the prey will not die from blood loss right away, but die from suffocation shock in just a few minutes. Tiger versus antelope. Antelopes are acceleration machines with 40% of their weight being pure muscle. Their twisted horns are structured from extremely hard keratin-covered bone cores, withstanding collision pressure of thousands of newtons. And for a selective predator, approaching an adult antelope individual is quite risky. It will choose to stalk, aiming at the young one. The young antelope possesses an incomplete bone structure with an extremely low calcification density, making the skeleton brittle and vulnerable. When facing a tiger, the disparity is too great. For carnivores like tigers, the stomach will have a very high concentration of hydrochloric acid. With young prey having a lot of cartilage and soft tissue, the tiger's digestive system can completely decompose the prey. The harsh survival rule is always executed with a neat finishing blow when in the hands of this predator. Tiger versus wild boar. The wild boar possesses a skin layer up to 3 centimeters thick, wrapping outside solid muscle blocks. But the Bengal tiger has evolved a set of 9 centimeters long fangs to pierce through this natural armor. Every step it takes is absolute silence, inching every millimeter to shorten the distance with the wild boar herd. Like all cat species, the tiger walks on its toes, not on its whole foot like humans. It is not just hiding, this is the process of accumulating potential energy. Every hind leg muscle fiber is being compressed under a giant pressure, waiting for the moment the prey enters the death zone, where all acceleration efforts to escape become too late. From behind the bushes, it launches out like a steel spring. With just a thunderous snap to the nape, the 1,000-pound jaw force breaks all hopes of resistance. The prey collapses right on the spot before the sound of the attack can echo far. An assassin's performance, neat and brutal. The tiger always tries to approach from downwind, so its body scent is not blown to the prey's nose. The tiger's shoulder blades are only connected by extremely strong muscle bundles. This structure allows the tiger's shoulder blades to protrude high above its back when walking, helping the stride stretch to the maximum and completely absorbing shocks from the ground. It creates an extremely smooth, gliding movement. The tiger lunges straight down into the mud puddle like a steel block, revealing itself from nowhere. The wild boar panics, realizing death, but it is too late. With an overwhelming bite force up to 1,050 pounds per square inch, the tiger easily locks the neck area tight, cutting off all life sources. The weight and muscular strength of the Lord completely subdue the opponent under the thick mud. The resistance weakens, then fades out, closing a cruel but perfect performance of nature. In the high altitude, where oxygen gradually thins and vision becomes limitless, exists a biological machine perfected over millions of years. The eagle. Not just a bird, they are the perfect combination of superior optics and peak aerodynamics. A gaze piercing through all things, a pair of wings mastering the 1,000 winds. All have turned them into the eternal terror of all living beings on the ground. Eagle versus vulture. On the arid tree branch, the eagle and the vulture clash before spreading their wings to soar into the deep blue sky. Eagles are the true lords of the air. They possess superhuman vision and a powerful wingspan, allowing them to completely dominate and control vast territories from above. Unexpectedly, the aerial dogfight erupts. Right when the boundary of death is imminent, luckily, the vulture managed to escape the hunter. It quickly dives down into a large bush, aiming to shake off the opponent. However, that encounter is not to destroy, but to affirm bravery and boundaries. In the high altitude, strength only truly has meaning when accompanied by control, and the one who masters themselves truly masters the sky. Eagle versus eagle. The sky belongs to the strongest. Along the majestic strait, the white-tailed eagle is soaring to execute a death patrol.
The white-tailed eagle.
Their vision is many times that of a human, allowing the detection of fish scale reflections through multiple layers of water before launching a thunderous strike.
White-tailed eagles in the world.
However, nature is not always perfect. The slippery prize unexpectedly slipped from the talons and fell straight down into the deep sea.
They still jump in.
But perhaps it has encroached into a new territory. The second swoop close to the water surface happens perfectly. The deadly pair of talons has tightly locked the fish's life. But an ambitious challenger lunges in, swinging a leg-locking blow, trying to ruin the aerial feast.
Challenger sees it first.
And the illegal trespasser has to accept leaving empty-handed. Falcon versus osprey. The safe nest suddenly becomes a bloody battlefield. In the absence of the mother bird, 3 tiny creatures fall into the crosshairs of the predatory machine. The falcon dives down, burying its deadly pair of talons tight into the backs of the fragile young ones, opening a brutal torture. Both are apex birds of prey. Falcons will often proactively attack to chase the large opponent out of their hunting area. nature reveals its cold instinct. To save itself, the remaining chick rises to fight back, repelling the troublemaker. However, with falcons, their talons are designed to pierce and tightly squeeze prey on land or in the air. And they almost always have the advantage when confronting an eagle species that can only hunt fish. Overwhelming power has drained the last bit of perseverance. The tiny victim cannot maintain resistance, slowly giving up and submitting to the Grim Reaper's scythe. Crow versus chicken. In the silent sky, black crows are soaring, continuously darting their eyes looking for a hunting opportunity. On the ground, the mother hens are leading their small chicks foraging for food, completely unaware that death is lurking. Right when the enemy swoops down, maternal instinct immediately rises. The hens frantically launch successive pecks and kicks at the intruder. Crows are smart birds specializing in hunting young ones, but they had to pay a heavy price when misjudging the fierce resistance power of motherly love. Cornered and thrashed relentlessly, the aerial predatory machine now falls into a panic, completely losing the ability to defend against the wrath. The clash closes extremely unexpectedly. The cunning predatory machine is now entangled in the opponent's feet. A reluctant ending as the battle can now no longer continue. Black stork. Motherly love in nature is not always peaceful. On the black stork's nest, providing food for the entire rapidly growing brood is an unbearable burden. When the life source becomes increasingly scarce, the mother bird is forced to execute an extremely cold rule right in her own home. Just glancing over, one can easily notice the clear disparity in physique among the chicks. The mother bird will silently evaluate and aim straight at the most stunted individual to eliminate it. In the wild world, this decision helps concentrate the entire meager amount of food for the strong and healthy chicks, ensuring they have the highest chance to reach adulthood. Even when lying down to incubate, those sheltering wings only give absolute priority to the 3 healthy chicks. Amidst harsh nature, this act of abandonment is absolutely not a crime, but the only choice to protect the existence of an entire generation. Falcon versus magpie. The wild nature has never had room for mercy. On the green moss-covered nest floor, an aerial assassin is pinning its prey tight to the ground. Falcons are perfect hunting machines. Their talons operate like a giant wrench. Once tightly locked, the victim is almost certain of a death sentence. Refusing to give up, the magpie gathers its last remaining strength to flap its wings fiercely, creating a desperate tug of war right on the cold ground. In response to that panic is an extremely cold-blooded attitude. The hunter casually observes its surroundings, letting its body weight press the prey to the point of suffocation. The ruthless assassin uses its beak to pluck clean the prey's feather layer, finding a way to pierce straight into the unfortunate one's throat. The battle ends in a fading, mournful cry. Hit subscribe to the channel to join us in unveiling the truth about the most terrifying predatory machines. Great Gray Shrike versus Sooty Falcon. Amidst the deserted rocky nesting area, a cunning small bird has discovered a loophole and snuck inside. In the wild world, the mother bird leaving the nest to forage always harbors extremely great risks, creating a golden opportunity for opportunists to come and massacre the chicks. The intruder immediately lunges in, pecking fiercely and dragging the naked chick out of its safe hidden corner. Although completely weak and yet to open its eyes, the survival instinct has urged the chick to continuously kick its legs, struggle, and flail its naked wings to desperately fight back against the enemy. The cruel harassment takes place persistently, making the tiny life gradually exhaust its strength. Right when the trespasser just left, the giant mother falcon returned to the nest in time to rescue the tiny creature. With the gentleness of motherly love, the mother bird skillfully uses her beak to pull the panicked child into her bosom, using her thick plumage to warm and shelter it. Skimmer. The young skimmer is taking its first toddling steps in life, completely neglecting vigilance with its surroundings. The adult individuals nearby aggressively lunge forward. With its sharp beak, it heartlessly clamps tight and thrashes the tiny creature extremely brutally onto the snow. When nesting in colonies packed close together, the chick accidentally wandering into the neighbor's territory is a death sentence. The adults will immediately massacre the intruder to protect their space. Flipped on its back after the fatal blow, the tiny victim gasps and struggles in despair amidst the encirclement of the cold-blooded ones. Even when sharing the same species, danger is always lurking. The tragedy closes on the snow, leaving a deep, haunting feeling about nature's heartless survival law. What you have just watched shows that in the world of snakes, members of the same species are not always something to avoid. These encounters do not depend on size alone, but are also decided by the approach, the timing of the strike, and the ability to restrain the opponent before it can fight back. If you found this video fascinating, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel to continue discovering more brutal hunts from the wild. Thank you for watching until the end. See you in the next video.